Hi everybody, my name is Jenny and you have found my channel called Senior Perspective. Thanks for coming. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so if you don't mind. It's free. And for all of you watching, if you hit the like button, leave me a comment, and I guarantee you I read every single comment. And I try to respond to all of them, but sometimes they come in and they don't come to my email box because YouTube is dumb.
So stupidly dumb.
Today, we are talking about when Christine first realized she was probably done with Kody. And here is the shocker. Do you know when it was? She said 6 months after moving to Flagstaff.
And then we moved to Flagstaff, and we were in Flagstaff for about 6 months. About 6 months when I started just being like, you know what? I'm done waiting for him. I'm done waiting. I've been waiting for him for 10 years to go do things, to go have to activities, to travel with us, to hang out with us. And I realized he just wasn't going to be part of our life. So I started just doing things without him. We went kayaking at least once a week. We went hiking all the time. I started going on trips without him. And I became so much more independent in Flagstaff when I realized, you know what? He's chosen Robyn, and he's just going to stay there.
6 months after leaving to Flagstaff, she already, in the back of her mind, started developing an exit plan. Not that she knew she was going to do an exit plan, but she started developing plan B in case it didn't work out.
Atta girl. Atta girl.
So
and then COVID happened.
Not leaving. I didn't think I would be leaving back then.
Okay.
Vaguely, I guess. Maybe vaguely it was like, then I'd never be able, yes, you know what, a little bit. It was like, well, then I'd never be able to leave because then I'd never have anything in my name. So I could leave and have something in my name for like my legacy or what I was going to do with my next life. But leaving wasn't a concrete thought. It was only this idea.
Christine, I have to say, between Mary, Janelle, and Christine, the smartest. Janelle found herself in a pickle. She could not see the forest for the coyote trees. She hook, line, and sinker thought everything was going to be the same all the time. And we could see that because she was always willing to sacrifice all her money for other people and to live a meager existence in a trailer in a tiny college apartment so that the family fund could grow and they could pay off Coyote Pass and have this dream of building the house that never came to be. Mary, too, didn't have anything in her name. She had a $5,000 a month house she was renting for all those years. How much money is that? I don't want to do the math. That's a lot of money out the window. You've got nothing to show for. I mean, she could have been putting it into a mortgage like Christine did. Christine, smart. You know what? Robyn's smart too.
Ouch, that hurts.
Even though it was Kody who pushed for that house, I don't believe for a second Robyn was opposed to it. I think deep down inside she was giddy at the thought of getting that mega, I want to call it a mega mansion. People get upset when you call it a mansion. It's not a mansion. Okay, in my world, it's a mansion. It's not even a mini mansion. All right, but whatever. This extremely large, what was it, 8,000 square foot house or something like that? I don't know. How many of my houses can you put in there? My goodness. I don't think she was too upset about it. Well, Christine said that at the point that they moved there, see, about 6 months into it is when the one house plans were presented to everybody. And at that point, she said that the connection that she had with Kody was diminishing more and more, that he wasn't present when he was with her for about a decade. And she felt like she was really living an independent life, which in the previous video we addressed this is why she agreed to move to Coyote Pass, because somehow she magically thought things would change if they crossed the state border and started new again with all the stressors of putting the kids in new schools and building houses and having to sell their houses and all those things they say lead to divorce. This would be where Christine's not so bright. Nevertheless, there they are. They find themselves all in Flagstaff, all over the place, very far away from each other, further away from each other than they even were when they were in different houses in Las Vegas. Kody, on Christmas Eve, as clueless as he could ever be, similar to the time that he was so proud to announce that he picked the dress and had no ability to read the emotional status of the rest of his wives and how this might hurt them. Again, he thought Christmas Eve would be a nice present to spring on everybody. Yet he admitted, when he was getting those plans drawn up, that not all his wives were on board with it. He said that to the architect.
I have a Christmas presentation.
I've been working on this project of a pitch for my wives to all live in one house, for all the family to be in one house. I've been prepping this for months now. I am now going to present it to the whole family. And I'm a little nervous. Kids that don't live in Flagstaff have come home for Christmas. And so I've got more kids together now than I'll have for a while. And I want to show this to all of them because I think that their open-mindedness about it might help the moms actually go, hey, this might be okay.
I think Kody has gotten his way so much, he thought he'd get his way on this one too. He wanted to buy the house in Lehi, couldn't afford it. Janelle had already been separated from him. He wooed her back because she recently got an inheritance, I believe it was her grandfather's, from his passing, and he needed her money to buy that Lehi house. Said, oh, this is going to be amazing. You notice how Janelle got the whole one side, top and bottom? Well, this is the house that Janelle bought. And then it was Kody's idea to move down to Vegas. We talked about that before too. Why random leave Vegas? I don't know. Not because Robyn's sister and her stepdad lived there. No. Only because it was a very opening community and would welcome them as polygamists. I mean, at the time that he presented that information, I couldn't argue with that notion. I found it odd that, according to him, the Mormons were very not welcoming of them. But then at the same time, they, over 100 years ago, denounced polygamy. So yeah, I guess it's kind of tarnishing their brand. So maybe they weren't very welcoming of polygamists. And then, you know, in Vegas, whatever, anything goes, right? So the kids didn't want to go. They go kicking and screaming. They finally make it down there. It takes a year or two, but they finally adjust. They get their sea legs. And then after being there for a few years, Kody decides, let's go to Flagstaff, Arizona. Why? Because according to him, this isn't a safe place for our kids, but they're welcoming in Flagstaff. Apparently the communities keep moving and he's just following them.
The police came and started talking to us because they had a report
Basically, he
responding
told me,
to a complaint that had been called
About
to
what?
the neighborhood.
About what?
Evidently us. I don't think that the neighbors are happy with me living there.
There's just people that are opposed to our lifestyle. I cannot believe they call the police.
You've made me feel so welcome.
So we go out there and Kody introduces himself.
hi, I'm Kody Brown. And she goes,
She shakes
and then she
his
takes my hand like this, and then she pulls away, and then Mary puts out her hand.
And I said, hi, I'm Mary. What's your name? And she's like, she would not shake my hand.
What does that mean that we've moved into?
I had a conversation with the owner. Pretty much the first thing she said to me was, Mary, I am second guessing the fact that I approved you to rent this house. She asked me if I would consider leaving the house and not renting from her.
Nice town.
I mean, it's also coincidental that Dayton had gotten accepted into Northern Arizona Flagstaff campus. Nobody would have saw this coming. I mean, what are the odds that Kody decides to move there and Dayton's going to school here now? I am digressing so much, I'm sorry. So the one house plan is presented that Christmas Eve to everybody about 6 months in, and Christine was not having it.
Let's go to the moment where he does the big presentation of the
one house?
Of the one house. And Janelle's like, I'm down. Robyn's like, great. And you are just
Livid.
like, absolutely not.
She was not going to be swayed by him anymore. He couldn't push her over anymore. And this is probably the beginning of the end of their relationship in general, too, because Kody has always been able to eventually manipulate Christine. I think she was the most outspoken one, but he always got her to come his way. She would keep sweet. Now she has a voice, and she said no. And the reason why she said no is because she knew she'd never get out.
And at that point, were you just imagining what it would be like to be trapped in a house with all these people? Or were you like, I know I got to leave. I just don't know when. Like, where was your mind when you saw that big house? Because I thought that was like the first time that we really saw.
Terrible. Sorry, my phone.
I'm sorry. That was the time I felt as a viewer that you were just like, no. And I was like,
No.
wait a minute. Like, what do we not know as the viewer?
Right. I thought I would be trapped.
She saw that house as a trap. By buying a house on her own in Flagstaff, she has an investment. She has something with her name on it. She has something she can claim as her own, so if she ever decides to leave, she's got something that she can take with her. In the interview, Heather says, she said Janelle and Robyn were on board with the house, but you weren't, right? I found it an interesting question because she didn't mention Mary at all. She just said Janelle and Robyn, and this is how I see it. I saw it as Janelle was on board. She was ready to all be back together in one house. She always liked it. She wanted to go back to it. I see Mary as being completely wishy-washy. She wasn't even sure if she wanted to come to Flagstaff. Her relationship with Kody was on the rocks. I'm sure he promised her the sun and the moon. And as she said, the beginning and the restarting of their relationship by her also moving to Flagstaff, kind of the same thing he promised Christine, right? In the last video where he took her for a drive. And Christine all of a sudden said, I thought this was the beginning of something new. Where'd she get that idea from? Same words that he said to Robyn. Master manipulator.
It makes me sick.
So we have Janelle as a yes, a Mary as whatever. I don't care what's going on. I'm hanging on by a thread onto this family. And then we have Christine, who's a no. So really, Robyn is the tiebreaker. Robyn is the tiebreaker. Robyn could have pushed for this one family home. But she didn't, did she? One of these days I'll go back and find the footage, but I swear I remember when I was watching it years and years and years ago thinking, why is everybody coming down so hard on Christine? Robyn's not saying a word. She's not saying she wants it either. Mary really wasn't saying anything because she didn't care. Janelle's the only one that said yes. Christine was saying no, and it's just like, Christine, yeah, you're a problem. Yet Robyn said nothing. Crickets.
Welcome to my house.
He puts this picture of this living room up, and I'm like, what is this?
I like the family picture up too. This is your.
We should be living in one home.
It is a big house.
That's not so big.
Holy cow, he's trying to get us into one house. He's really trying to do it.
I don't think Robyn ever wanted that one house. She was just letting everybody fight it out. They were letting Christine take the fall so she didn't have to. My opinion. One of the most interesting things that Christine said in this interview in terms of this topic was that her kids did not want the one house. That speaks volumes.
So the kids that don't live in Flagstaff have come home for Christmas. And so I've got more kids together now than I'll have for a while. And I want to show this to all of them because I think that their open-mindedness about it might help the moms actually go, hey, this might be okay.
Her kids were smart enough to see this is a disaster waiting to happen. They were happy living with their mom in their house. And I think, they never got really close with Robyn's kids, so it's like bringing strangers back in again. So after all these years of it just being her own nuclear family, that's all they wanted, to keep it that way.
And my kids afterwards were like, please don't do that. We don't live with you anymore, but please do not do that. And I'm like, no.
Do not accept the large house.
Do not accept the whole big one house. Because to them, when they lived in one house before, it was just crowded. There wasn't a lot of room.
I think it's very telling that her kid said that, because it also goes to show why Christine would fight so much for not being in that one house. Because we as moms will do anything for our kids. We will go anywhere. We will do anything. Our kids come first. Christine also said she perceived living in one house as getting less time with Kody. She's convinced of it. I find it kind of an odd situation, but her explanation is this.
And Kody was around all the places all the time, and having like individual time, I just felt like I wasn't really, in the end, I just didn't feel like I was a wife. I didn't feel like I was a wife. And so one house meant to me that I wouldn't be seen as a wife. I would just be like, stop.
I just think that's so interesting how she thought he wasn't even going to see her as a wife anymore. He was going to see her as a stop. It's kind of a crude way to put it, but so perfect also, right? I'll do my obligatory stop off over at this house, but I'm living my life over here.
I now would be able to be in a house where Kody would never come to my part of the house. Maybe he'd come there to sleep, but that would be it. So we're going to see even less of him in one house, because I'm going to be honest with you, he's always going to be at Robyn's house then. Why would he ever be in mine? Why? He's always going to stay in his part of his house. And what we suddenly start going visiting him in his part of the house, that's what I imagine it would be like. And I'm like, my part of the anything rather than just a little tiny place for him to stop over occasionally. I just knew it wouldn't be a good idea.
Another thing that made her think about I want to leave, on top of the fact this huge argument was happening and she was not coming to terms with Kody, and it was causing more dissension in their marriage because of her not wanting the one house and him wanting the one house. But she said when it finally came to pass and the one house was shelved, at least for the time being, and Kody agreed, well, okay, here's the land, let's all pick our plots. Christine said that everyone picked the one that they liked, and she was very happy with her plot. She loved where it was, she loved the land, she was very excited about it. And then Kody one day just changed it all up. Changed it up. She doesn't know why, but he changed it up. Her lot was no longer hers, and she was given another parcel of land on the property.
The lots that Kody passed, once Kody was like, well, we can't put you with that lot, because before we kind of talked about different lots that we wanted, and I picked a lot and I really loved that lot. And then our next family meeting, he's like, you don't get that lot. You're going to have another lot. And I'm like, so you've totally displaced me now. I don't even have a place anymore here.
And she said that this made her feel displaced, of course. She lost her value. She didn't feel like her voice was being heard. I mean, not only was her voice not heard, but it was heard and ignored and changed. And then she was informed. Everything is different now, by the way. Yeah, I'd be upset too. But the straw that broke the camel's back was Isabel's surgery, as she mentioned on the show as well.
Janelle's kids knew that Kody was officiating a wedding, and they told Gwen and Isabel. So Gwendolyn's mad. Isabel's heartbroken. Oh my gosh.
She said that it would have been maximum 3.5 weeks that he would have been gone. And that's if he would have gone for the pre-quarantining and the surgery and stayed for all the time afterwards, which he wouldn't have had to do.
So there's this overlying thing from Christine with why I can go to a friend's wedding, but I can't go to Isabel's surgery. Isabel's surgery was at a time and a situation where it would have required that I'm 6 or 8 weeks away from home.
All he needed to do was go there for the quarantine process before the procedure. I think they had to wait a week to be in isolation or wherever they had put them. Kody just needed to do the isolation period and be there for her surgery. To be the dad's face when she woke up. That's it. Why he won't move heaven and earth for her, I don't understand. I can't understand it.
She goes, how can he justify officiating Brian's wedding when he wouldn't even come to my surgery?
But the final thing for me was like Isabel's surgery. That was like, done. That was like absolute, that was it. I'm like, you can't, because he said to her, he goes, I can't leave my family for that long.
No man can be away from work and from home and from family that long.
Yes, I can.
But the most hurtful part about it is his reason why. And his reason why is because he couldn't leave his family. He said that as if Christine and Isabel were not his family. He, to her face, said, I cannot leave my family.
And afterwards, Isabel goes, I thought we were family. I thought he was my dad. So if he can't leave, he can't be with us because he has to stay with his family. What does that mean? What am I? And she was like, how can I be? Really? What am I? So I was like, oh, we're done.
And now I'm mad. What the hell? You think you're gonna go officiate your friend's wedding and not take care of your own family? I cannot respect this person anymore. Who he is and the choices that he's making, I cannot respect this man. Gosh.
I can't be married to a guy who doesn't respect us as his family and thinks of somebody else as his family. If he thinks that someone else is his family, why is he still married to me? Why is he still pretending that polygamy works if he can't leave his family to be with his daughter? And I just didn't understand that. It was only so it was a total of like 3.5 weeks that we were gone. 3.5 weeks.
So clearly drawing a line in the sand that his family is Robyn and her kids, and that they're just extras in this game of life. Christine said at that moment she realized that she could not be married to somebody any longer who did not see her or her children as part of his family. Right? And sadly, Isabel knew about this too and was just as hurt and shocked by his words. So that's a timeline of when Christine first realized, I may not be in this marriage long term, to the point that her decision was made, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be in this marriage long term. And the steps that happened along the process. There probably were a lot more, but that's what she shared. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching and tune in with another topic next time.
Yes. There's more.